Humanity's underestimation. Commander Elena Reyes stood rigid at the center of the Galactic Assembly's Grand Hall, her naval uniform crisp despite the 20-hour journey from Earth. The vast chamber stretched around her, its crystalline dome capturing stars from 1,000 systems. Representatives from over 300 species filled the tiered seating, their diverse forms illuminated by the soft blue glow emanating from the floor. This should have been humanity's proudest moment. After centuries of dreaming about the stars, humanity had finally achieved faster-than-light travel and earned an invitation to join the Galactic Assembly. Instead, it felt like being called to the principal's office. "The representatives from Sol 3 may now address the Assembly," announced High Counselor Zinvalix, an 8-limbed being whose translucent skin revealed the complex dance of organs beneath. Elena stepped forward, conscious of the weight of 7 billion humans resting on her shoulders. Behind her stood Dr. Samir Kapoor, Earth's lead scientist, and Ambassador Lu Wei, Earth's diplomatic representative. They were humanity's best and brightest, selected after months of global debate. Distinguished representatives of the Galactic Assembly, Elena began, her voice steady and measured. "On behalf of Earth and all humanity, we extend our gratitude for this invitation. We bring with us a spirit of cooperation, innovation, and—" A strange warbling sound interrupted her. It started from one section of the chamber, then spread like ripples in a pond. Elena recognized it as laughter, alien laughter. "Forgive me, Commander," called out a voice from the assembly floor. A being rose from the front row, its body a collection of crystalline structures that shifted and rearranged as it moved. Ambassador Krell of the Zoraxian Collective. "But do you truly believe your species has anything of value to contribute? Your civilization still relies on biological computation. Your fastest ships barely reach 10% of standard cruising speed. Your weapons are primitive at best." More laughter echoed through the chamber. Elena kept her expression neutral, though her hands tightened into fists at her sides. "The humans have only just learned to crawl," added another voice, this one belonging to a gaseous entity contained within an ornate hovering vessel. "Perhaps in another millennium, they might have something worth sharing." Dr. Kapoor stepped forward before Elena could respond. "With respect," he said, his voice calm despite the tension visible in his shoulders. "Humanity's approach to problems often differs from established methods. Our perspective may offer—" "Your perspective," interrupted Krell, "is that of a child looking at the stars for the first time. Charming, perhaps, but hardly insightful." High Counselor Zinvalix raised a limb for silence. "The Assembly has voted to accept Earth as a protectorate member. You will be granted limited access to Assembly technology and minimal trading rights. Your species will be restricted to your home system and 3 neighboring uninhabited systems for colonization. These terms are generous, considering your development level." Ambassador Liu moved to protest, but Elena placed a hand on his arm. She had served 20 years in Earth's Space Force and knew when to pick her battles. This wasn't one they could win. Not yet. "The Assembly appreciates your generosity," Elena replied, each word carefully measured. "Earth accepts these terms." When they returned to their assigned quarters, Liu exploded with frustration. "They're treating us like children, like pets who've learned a new trick." "They see us as primitives," Kapoor agreed, removing his formal jacket and dropping into a chair. "Did you notice how the Arcturus delegation wouldn't even make eye contact? As if we're beneath their notice." Elena stood at the viewport, gazing at the stars. "Let them underestimate us. It gives us time." "Time for what?" Liu demanded. "To be good little humans while they pat us on the head." Elena turned, her expression hardening. "Time for Project Nebula to reach completion." Kapoor straightened in his chair. Project Nebula wasn't supposed to be discussed outside secure channels. "Commander, these quarters are secure," Elena assured him. "And we need to accelerate the timeline." "Dr. Kapoor, how soon can the prototype be ready?" Kapoor hesitated before answering. "The theory is sound. We've proven dimensional shifting on a small scale, but a full-sized vessel, 8 months, minimum. You have 4, Alina said flatly. Impossible, Kapoor replied. The energy requirements alone. Make it possible, Alina cut him off. I have a feeling we're going to need it sooner than we thought. 3 weeks later, Alina's prediction proved grimly accurate. The first human colony on Proxima Centauri went silent without warning. 5,000 colonists gone. When Earth requested emergency assistance from the assembly, the response was a single scout ship that arrived 4 days later. No signs of hostile action, reported the Trilaxian commander, his tentacled face showing no emotion on the communication screen. Most likely a human error, perhaps atmospheric containment failure or internal conflict. Alina knew better. The colony had been expertly planned and led by experienced commanders. Something had taken them. When she demanded a more thorough investigation, Counselor Brex, a methane-breathing giant from the Andromeda Arm, laughed openly during the assembly session. Unfortunate, but expected, he said dismissively. Newly spacefaring species often overestimate their colonization capabilities. The resources would be better allocated elsewhere. 2 weeks later, the second colony vanished. 10,000 humans building a new life on Ta City, gone without a trace. This time, Alina bypassed the assembly completely and called an emergency meeting with Earth's leadership. Their faces were grim on the screens surrounding her. The assembly has refused additional help, she reported. They suggested we focus on Earth rather than expansion. They're using us as bait, General Santos said, her weathered face tight with anger. Something is out there, and they wanted it to hit us first. Dr. Kapoor's image leaned forward. Commander Reyes, I request permission to accelerate Project Nebula. We've made breakthroughs in the dimensional phasing technology. Explain, Alina said. We can move objects, including ships, into dimensions beyond normal spacetime. Our vessel could essentially become invisible, moving through what appears to be solid matter. Alina thought of the missing colonies, of the dismissive alien laughter, of humanity's vulnerable position. Proceed, she ordered. Full priority. As the meeting ended, Alina looked out her window at the stars. Somewhere out there, an enemy was moving. The assembly knew what it was, but they had decided humans were expendable. They think we're weak, she said quietly to herself. They'll learn. She didn't know then how soon that lesson would come, or how completely it would change humanity's place in the cosmos. But Alina felt certain of one thing as she watched the distant stars. Humanity stood alone, and only their secret project could save them. 3 kilometers beneath the Atlantic Ocean, a secret base hummed with activity. Hidden from satellites and deep space scans, Project Nebula had operated here since before most of its workers were born. Dr. Kapoor walked through the main lab, nodding to scientists who stepped aside respectfully. His normally immaculate appearance had given way to rumpled clothing and 3 days of stubble, evidence of sleepless nights spent solving impossible equations. He entered the central chamber where Dr. Maya Rodriguez hunched over a workstation. Holographic equations floated in the air, spinning and connecting in patterns few humans could comprehend. Progress? He asked. Rodriguez looked up, her eyes red-rimmed but bright with excitement. See for yourself. She expanded the hologram with a gesture. The equations rearranged themselves, forming a stable pattern that pulsed with soft green light. The framework holds, Rodriguez said, pointing to key points in the mathematical model. 7th-dimensional folding is possible. We've solved the quantum instability problem. Kapoor studied the equations. You're sure this isn't another simulation? This is real data from the test chamber. The object actually vanished from our dimension and reappeared exactly where we predicted. Kapoor allowed himself a small smile. How soon can we test the full system? The shadow dancer is ready, Rodriguez said. We just needed these final calculations. They walked together through a massive airlock into a cavernous space carved from the ocean floor. Inside floated a vessel unlike anything humans had officially built. The shadow dancer was sleek and obsidian black, its surface absorbing light rather than reflecting it. No visible seams or connections marred its smooth exterior. It resembled a predator from the deepest ocean, deadly, efficient, and utterly alien. Captain Marcus Chen stood at its base, examining the entry hatch. He turned as Kapoor and Rodriguez approached, his face serious but eyes bright with anticipation. "Is it time?" he asked. Kapoor nodded. "The final calculations confirm what we hoped. The shadow dancer can move through higher dimensions." Chen had been chosen from thousands of candidates. He had the right combination of piloting skills, scientific understanding, and psychological stability needed for the mission. What they would ask him to do had never been done before. "Commander Rise is on her way," Kapoor said. "She wants to witness the final systems check." As if summoned by her name, Commander Rise entered with her security team. The soldiers remained by the door as she crossed to join them. "Show me," she said simply. Rodriguez activated her tablet, and a holographic display appeared above it. "This is what the assembly thinks we know about physics," she explained, showing a simple three-dimensional model. "This is what we actually discovered 50 years ago." The model expanded, sprouting new dimensions that folded in on themselves in impossible ways. 50 years of secret research since we discovered the dimensional fracture in Antarctica, Kapoor added. The assembly never suspected. "They believe we're centuries behind," Rides replied, satisfaction evident in her voice. "Our advantage." Chen circled the shadow dancer, his hand running along its smooth surface. "How does it work, in simple terms?" Rodriguez switched on the main display, showing the engine core, a sphere of shifting patterns contained within overlapping fields. "Conventional space has 3 dimensions we can move through. Up-down, left-right, forward-backward," she explained. "But mathematics proves at least 11 dimensions exist. We usually can't access them. The shadow dancer changes that." "Yes?" Chen asked, fascination in his voice. "We've built a ship that can move sideways through dimensions 4 through 11. Rodriguez activated the core with a command. The sphere in the display pulsed with energy. 7 dimensions confirmed, she announced as data flowed across screens. The vessel can move perpendicular to conventional space. It can essentially phase through solid matter by stepping into a higher dimension and back out again. Chen frowned slightly. "And our enemies?" he asked. "The ones taking our colonies." Kapoor smiled, a rare expression on his normally serious face. "They can only perceive 3 dimensions," he said. "To them, we'll be ghosts." Rice studied the shadow dancer with new appreciation. "How soon can it be deployed?" "Final systems checked today," Rodriguez said. "Live test tomorrow. Combat ready in 3 days if all goes well." "Not a moment too soon," Rice replied. "We've lost contact with a 3rd colony. Whatever is hunting us is getting bolder." Chen looked up at the vessel that would soon carry him beyond normal space. "The shadow dancer will be ready," he said quietly. "And so will I." As they prepared the final tests, none of them could know that they were about to change humanity's place in the galaxy forever. The shadow dancer would soon prove that humans weren't as primitive as the assembly believed. They were pioneers of a science no other species had imagined possible. The emergency alarm blared through Earth Command Headquarters. Commander Reyes rushed into the control room, where screens showed a chaotic scene. A transmission from the Europa colony played on the main display, breaking up every few seconds. "Repeat, this is not a drill." A woman's voice called through static. Her face appeared briefly, bloodied and terrified. "Not pirates. Something else. They come from nowhere." The transmission cut to black. Silence fell over the control room. Rice turned to the gathered officers. "How many people on Europa colony?" 20,000, sir," someone replied. Rice's jaw tightened. This was the 4th attack, but the first where they had received any transmission. "Get me everything from that signal. Every frame, every sound." Hours later, Reyes met with Earth's Defense Council in a secure underground room. Intelligence Officer Diaz stood before them, her uniform perfectly pressed despite having worked through the night. "We've enhanced the Europa colony transmission," she said, tapping her tablet. The screen behind her showed images that made several council members gasp. Strange ships appeared in the colony footage. Dark vessels with shifting geometries that seemed to fold in on themselves. More importantly, Diaz continued, "We intercepted assembly communications about the attacks." She played a recording of aliens speaking, translated into English by the computer. "Another human colony gone. The buffer strategy works as planned. The Voidwalkers remain focused on their territory." "The assembly knows?" Reyes asked, anger rising in her voice. Diaz nodded. "Based on their communications, they've been fighting these Voidwalkers for centuries, using our colonies as buffers while pretending to help us." Dr. Kapoor, who had been quiet until now, spoke up. "They gave us the worst territories on purpose, the ones closest to Voidwalker space." General Santos slammed her fist on the table. "They're sacrificing our people." "There's more," Diaz said. "We've gathered enough data to identify the Voidwalkers. They appear to be ancient predators that hunt through dimensional shortcuts. They can partially phase between normal space and the fourth dimension, which is why they seem to appear from nowhere." Reyes thought of the Shadow Dancer, ready for its first real mission. "Show me everything you have on their capabilities." The meeting continued for hours as they reviewed all available data. Captain Chen joined them, studying the Voidwalkers' movements with particular attention. "I see a pattern," he said eventually. "Look at how they attack." He pointed to the simulation showing Voidwalker ships appearing near human settlements. "They always attack from specific angles, always using the same dimensional approach." Chen manipulated the display, adding new dimensional overlays. "The Voidwalkers cannot perceive seventh-dimensional space due to their evolutionary pathway. They hunt through the fourth and fifth dimensions, that's their territory. But they're blind to dimensions 6 and beyond." Reyes understood immediately. "Which means the Shadow Dancer can strike without being detected." "Exactly," Chen said. "They'll never see us coming." Dr. Kapoor looked troubled. "We need more time to prepare. The Shadow Dancer has only completed 2 test flights." "Time is something we don't have," Reyes replied. "The Assembly has been using us as sacrificial pawns. We need to show both them and the Voidwalkers that humans aren't easy prey." As they discussed strategy, a young officer burst into the room. "Sir, urgent from Orbital Command." Reyes took the offered tablet and read the message. Her face darkened. "Earth's orbital defenses have detected a massive incoming fleet, not assembly ships." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. "The Voidwalkers are coming here?" General Santos asked. "To Earth. Arrival estimated in 6 hours," Reyes confirmed, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. "They'd grown bold after easy victories at our colonies." "The Assembly?" Kapoor asked. "They're aware but offering limited assistance due to resource constraints." Reyes read from the message, her tone bitter. "We're on our own." Chen stood up, determination clear on his face. "The Shadow Dancer is ready. Let me take it out." Reyes looked at the captain, seeing the confidence behind his eyes. One experimental ship against a fleet. One ship they can't see or detect, Chen corrected. One ship that can move through dimensions they can't access. Rodriguez checked her tablet. "The dimensional drive is stable. Weapon systems are online, but we've never tested them in actual combat." "There's no choice," Reyes said after a moment. "Captain Chen, prepare the Shadow Dancer for immediate launch. Your mission is to assess the Voidwalker fleet capabilities and disrupt their approach if possible." As Chen left to prepare, Reyes turned to the others. "Activate all planetary defenses, evacuate coastal cities, and send one last message to the Assembly. Tell them Earth is about to show them what humans can do." The room emptied quickly as everyone rushed to their stations. Earth prepared for its first interstellar battle. not knowing that their secret dimensional technology was about to change the course of galactic history. The seventh dimension's shadow. The Voidwalker Armada appeared in Earth's skies like a storm of metal and shadow. Thousands of their strange ships hum over cities and oceans, their hulls shifting and folding in ways that hurt human eyes to watch. Earth's defense satellites fired immediately, but energy beams and missiles seemed to pass through the Voidwalker vessels or disappear into sudden dimensional pockets. In the command center beneath the Atlantic, Commander Rice watched the battle displays with a grim expression. Conventional weapons barely slow their advance, she reported to the Global Defense Council. They're absorbing or redirecting our attacks through dimensional shifts. Reports flooded in from around the world. The Voidwalkers have begun landing forces in remote areas. Strange beings moved in unnatural ways, taking human captives for unknown purposes. Launch all remaining ships, Rise ordered. Keep them occupied until the shadow insert is in position. Deep in the underwater hangar, Captain Chen made final preparations. The shadow insert floated in its launch cradle, systems humming with power. Beside him stood his small, carefully selected crew. Navigator Akira Tanaka, Weapons Officer Zoe Washington, and Engineer Raj Patel. This is not a test flight, Chen told them as they strapped into their stations. Everything we've worked for comes down to the next few hours. They nodded, faces serious but determined. All had trained for years in simulation, but nothing could truly prepare them for what they were about to attempt. Launch sequence initiated, Patel reported, his fingers dancing across controls. The hangar's massive doors slid open, revealing the dark ocean above. The shadow dancer rose silently, water streaming from its smooth black hull. Unlike conventional spacecraft, it needed no rockets to reach orbit. The dimensional drive allowed it to partially negate gravity by shifting slightly out of normal space. As they ascended through the ocean and into the sky, they caught their first real glimpse of the invasion. The Voidwalker ships blocked out the sun, casting shadows across continents. Earth's defensive fleet, small compared to the invaders, fought bravely but ineffectively. Shadow dancer to command, we have visual on the enemy, Chen reported. Proceeding with Phase 1. Acknowledged, Shadow dancer, Rice's voice came through. All Earth forces are aware of your mission. Good hunting. Chen turned to Navigator Tanaka. Take us in. Full dimensional shift once we reach their formation. Tanaka nodded, her face illuminated by the holographic controls. Course plotted through their center mass. Dimensional drive at full power. The shadow dancer accelerated toward the Voidwalker fleet, still visible in normal space. As they approached the first enemy vessels, Chen gave the command. Engage 7th dimensional shift. Now. Patel activated the dimensional drive. The ship hummed as reality itself seemed to bend around them. Through the viewports, the world took on a strange, multi-layered appearance, as if they were seen through several planes of existence simultaneously. Dimensional shift complete, Patel confirmed. We're now operating primarily in the 7th dimension, with partial anchoring in normal space. Chen felt an odd sensation, as if his body existed in multiple places at once. The training simulations had prepared them for this disorientation, but experiencing it was something else entirely. Are we visible to them? He asked. Washington checked her sensors. Negative. To three-dimensional observers, we're completely imperceptible. We could fly right through them, and they'd never know. Then that's exactly what we'll do, Chen decided. Tanaka, take us directly through their command vessel. Let's get a close look at what we're dealing with. The shadow dancer glided silently through the Voidwalker fleet, passing through solid matter, as if it weren't there. To the Voidwalkers, who could perceive only up to the 5th dimension, the human ship simply didn't exist. Recording all data, Washington reported as they penetrated the massive command ship at the fleet's center. Their technology is strange. It's organic somehow, integrated with synthetic components. Chen watched as they passed through chambers filled with beings unlike anything humanity had encountered before. The Voidwalkers had no fixed form, their bodies shifting between states of matter, extending appendages that disappeared into dimensional pockets only to reappear elsewhere. "They're harvesting something," Tanaka observed, pointing to a chamber where human captives floated in suspension fields. "Energy signatures indicate they're extracting something from our people." "Dimensional potential," Paddle said suddenly, studying his readings. "Humans have a unique neurological structure that allows for dimensional perception beyond what most species possess. They're harvesting that potential." Chen's jaw tightened. "How many captives?" "Several thousand, Captain," Washington replied. "Primarily from the destroyed colonies. We need to free them," Chen said. "But first, we need to stop this invasion." They continued their reconnaissance, passing through the Voidwalker fleet like ghosts. The more they saw, the clearer the picture became. The Voidwalkers weren't just raiders, they were harvesters of dimensional energy, and humans were their perfect source. "Command, this is Shadowdancer," Chen reported. "We've completed our reconnaissance. The Voidwalkers are harvesting humans for their dimensional perception abilities. They're using 4th and 5th dimensional technologies, but they can't perceive dimensions 6 through 11. "Can you exploit this weakness?" Rise asked. "Affirmative," Chen replied. "We're preparing to engage. Our weapons can strike from the 7th dimension into their reality. They won't see it coming." "Understood. Earth defenses are at 60% and falling. Whatever you're going to do it quickly." Chen turned to his crew. "Weapons status." Washington's hands moved over her console. "Dimensional phase torpedoes ready. They'll shift from the 7th dimension to normal space at the moment of impact. The Voidwalkers won't be able to shift them away." "Target their command ship first," Chen ordered. "Then their dimensional drives. Without those, they'll be trapped in normal space." "Targets locked," Washington confirmed. "Firing solution ready." Chen took a deep breath. Humanity's survival hung in the balance. "Fire." The Shadowdancer released its weapons, strange projectiles that glowed with dimensional energy. The torpedoes traveled through the 7th dimension, invisible to the Voidwalkers until the moment they phased back into normal space inside their targets. The first explosion tore through the Voidwalker command ship, ripping apart its dimensional engines. The massive vessel shuddered, sections of it collapsing as they lost their dimensional stability. "Direct hit," Washington reported. "Their command structure is destabilizing." "Again," Chen ordered. "Target their secondary vessels." The Shadowdancer moved through the fleet, firing with impunity from the safety of the 7th dimension. Each shot materialized inside the Voidwalker ships, bypassing their defenses completely. On Earth's surface, humans watched in amazement as Voidwalker vessels began to explode seemingly without cause. No visible weapons struck them. They simply erupted from within, dimensional energy cascading outward in impossible patterns. In the command center, Rides allowed herself a small smile. "The assembly is hailing us," an officer reported. "They're demanding to know what's happening." "Tell them humanity is defending itself," Rise replied. "With technology they thought we couldn't possibly possess." The battle continued for hours. The Shadowdancer moved undetected through the Voidwalker fleet, striking with surgical precision. Without their dimensional drives, the alien vessels were forced to rely on conventional weapons, weapons that Earth's defenses could handle. "Voidwalker flagship is attempting to escape," Tanaka reported. "They're trying to shift to the 4th dimension." "Intercept them," Chen ordered. "Don't let them report back about our capabilities." The Shadowdancer surged forward, cutting off the flagship's retreat. Chen activated the ship-wide communication system. "This is Captain Marcus Chen of Earth vessel Shadowdancer. Your fleet is destroyed. Your dimensional drives are disabled. Surrender your harvested humans and retreat from Earth space, or we will destroy your remaining vessels." For a long moment, there was no response. Then a strange, multi-tone voice came through the speakers. "Impossible. You cannot exist in the higher dimensions. You are primitive. Animals. Barely evolved." "We exist where you cannot perceive," Chen replied. "And we will continue to exist long after you're gone. Release our people, and you may leave with your lives." The Void Walker commander hesitated. Then the flagship's holds opened, releasing the containment pods holding human captives. Earth vessels moved in to retrieve them as the damaged Void Walker ships began to retreat. "They're withdrawing," Washington confirmed. "All across the planet, they're pulling back." Chen allowed himself to breathe. Shadowed Answer to command. "The Void Walkers are retreating. I repeat, they're retreating." Cheers erupted in the command center. On screens around the world, humans watched as the dark ships that had threatened their existence limped away into space. "Return to base," Shadowed Answer, Rise ordered. "The Assembly representatives are demanding an explanation." "I think it's time we gave them one. They won't forget." 3 days later, Commander Rise stood again in the Grand Hall of the Galactic Assembly. This time, she wasn't alone. Captain Chen and the crew of the Shadowed Answer stood beside her, along with Dr. Kapoor and Dr. Rodriguez. The chamber was silent, not with dismissal, but with shock. News of Earth's victory over the Void Walkers had spread throughout the galaxy. Species that had once laughed at humans now regarded them with wary respect. High Counselor Zinvalix addressed them first. "The Assembly demands an explanation. How did a primitive species such as yours defeat a force that has plagued advanced civilizations for millennia?" Reyes stepped forward. "Perhaps you should reconsider your definition of primitive, Counselor. Humanity has developed technologies that operate beyond the dimensional limits of the Void Walkers. Technologies that your own species never conceived of." "Impossible," Ambassador Krell interjected. "Your species barely understands four-dimensional mathematics." Dr. Kapoor smiled. "That's what we allowed you to believe, Ambassador. In truth, we've been researching dimensional physics for over 50 years. The Shadowed Answer operates primarily in the 7th dimension, a space the Void Walkers cannot perceive or access." Murmurs spread through the chamber. Many representatives seemed disturbed by this revelation. "You intentionally missiled the Assembly?" Zinvalix asked. "No more than you missiled us when you placed our colonies as buffers against the Void Walkers," Rise replied coldly. "We've recovered the communications. We know you sacrificed our people to protect your own territories." The chamber fell silent again, this time with guilt. "The Assembly regrets any misunderstanding," Zinvalix said carefully. "Had we known of your capabilities, you would have treated us with respect." Rise interrupted. "That's all humanity ever wanted. Not charity, not condescension. Respect." Counselor Brex shifted uncomfortably in his seat. "What does Earth demand in recompense?" "Nothing you weren't already obligated to provide," Rise said. "Full membership in the Assembly, equal trading rights, access to shared technologies, and recognition of Earth's sovereign territory, including the colonies we lost." "And if we refuse?" Krell asked, though his tone lacked its former arrogance. Captain Chen stepped forward. "Then humanity will protect itself, as we've already proven capable of doing. But we would prefer cooperation to isolation." The Assembly deliberated for hours. When they returned, Zinvalix spoke with new deference. "Earth is granted full membership in the Galactic Assembly, with all rights and responsibilities thereof. Furthermore, Earth will lead a new Assembly initiative on dimensional technologies, sharing your advancements with all member species." Reyes nodded. "Humanity accepts these terms." As they left the chamber, Dr. Rodriguez whispered to Chen, "They're still afraid of us." "Good," Chen replied. "Fear can become respect, given time." "And humanity's place in the galaxy?" Dr. Kapoor asked. Commander Rise looked out at the stars through the grand viewports of the Assembly Station. "That's up to us now. They thought we were primitive, but we showed them that humanity approaches problems differently. We see possibilities where others see limits." She smiled. "They laughed at us once. They won't make that mistake again." A week later, the Shadowed Answer prepared for its second official mission. This time, It would lead an expedition into the seventh dimension itself, exploring realms no species had ever witnessed. Human scientists would work alongside the very aliens who had once mocked them, teaching them to perceive realities beyond their understanding. As Chen settled into the captain's chair, he thought about how quickly things had changed. From ridicule to respect in one dramatic confrontation. From isolation to integration in a matter of days. Navigator Tanaka, set course for the dimensional fracture, he ordered. Let's show the galaxy what humanity can really do. The shadowed dancer hummed to life, its dimensional drive engaging. As the ship shifted into the seventh dimension, the universe transformed around them, revealing wonders no eyes had ever seen. Humanity had proven itself among the stars, not through aggression or dominance, but through innovation and perseverance. They had turned underestimation into their greatest advantage and emerged from the shadows of doubt into the light of recognition. The galaxy would never be the same, and neither would humanity.